Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your reaction to Ruben Amorim's first press conference as Manchester United manager in the build-up to the Ipswich game on the weekend, and a load of very interesting stuff to get into, guys. And do you know what? First and foremost, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant interview. I really did. Now, maybe it's coming off the back of a lot of negativity over the last couple of weeks and months with Erik ten Hag, and you seem to be getting the same answers and so on and so forth, and maybe that's why it felt so refreshing. But I thought it was an absolutely brilliant interview. I really did. I thought he was a little bit nervous. You could tell quite early on, especially in the interview, that there was a little bit of nerves there. But look, that's to be understandable. But we're going to talk about it, guys. He has a lot to say about transfers as well, suggesting that he's going to have the say when it comes to who comes in and out of Manchester United. Whether that is the case over the coming weeks and months and years, that remains to be seen. He also pretty much calls out the players without really calling them out, in relation to not running back and, working hard enough and so on and so forth. So we'll get into some of his quotes as well. But please do smash a like on the video, guys, if you haven't done so already. Do hit that subscribe button if you are new, and get your comments in to the live chat as well, or if you're watching back, into the comment section below. I want to know what you guys think about his first press conference. But look, I mean, first and foremost, like I said, I think it was an absolutely brilliant interview. He looked composed. He looked a little bit nervous. He looked, he's very warming. He's got a smile. He's got charisma. He's got character. He knows what he wants as well, more than anything else, and he knows what he's talking about. And I think that's the most important thing, more than anything else, is that he knows what he's talking about. He's got an identity. He's got a way of playing, and he's got a style of football that he's going to try and implement at Manchester United. You can see that in him by just looking at a 15-minute press conference, and I think it is quite refreshing to see. He's spoken about the players as well, a lot of stuff there as well. He was asked about Casemiro and Rashford and so on and so forth. But we'll go through some of the I suppose the main talking points that we've heard from him. First and foremost, I want to get into the question about, when he was asked about how he wants to play at Manchester United. And, I think this is basically what everybody is wanting to find out. How is he going to play at United? How is he going to set up the team? Let me zoom in here for everybody to see. And he said, if you want to speak about the way we play, we lose the ball too often. So we need to keep the ball better. We need to be better running back. And I think that's clear for everybody as he smiles. We have to be clear in the small details. So again, that goes back to what I've been saying about it's a dig at the players, without really calling them out. He smiles to the media saying, look, you guys know, Manchester United, we haven't been working hard enough. We haven't been running back hard enough. We lose the ball too often, so on and so forth. And he says that in a way that, as a player, you're not really going to find any negatives with it, because he's just telling the truth. He says it in a way that relays it that he wants to improve this. I want to get my players to improve. I want us to improve as a team, and I want all of these kind of things to get better. We did, and we have, and we continue to hear the relationship that he has built at all of the clubs that he's been with previously, with his players has been, next to or second to none. And I think that's going to be very important coming into a Manchester United dressing room. We've seen over the years, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, excuse me, bit of a chest on me. We've seen over the years, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, the lack of real warmth towards managers. I think Solskjaer had it for, a lot of his tenure, but outside of that, we've seen quite cold managers. Ten Hag is a cold manager. You would very rarely see him, in training sessions with an arm around a player and so on and so forth. Mourinho is very similar in that regard. Van Gaal is very similar in that regard. And I think we're getting a manager now that, he's young. He's, 38 years of age. he understands what it is to be a player first and foremost, as well as being a manager. So I think that relationship that he could and can potentially build with players would be a lot easier because of his age. So it's something that, that I think will stand him in good stead. And I think it's something that that we do need going forward. When you're dealing with a set of multi-millionaires playing for Manchester United, you need to have that connection. You really, really do have to have that connection. He goes on then to say about, he was asked why does he think he is the right man for the job. The question was put to him that he's the 6th permanent manager since Sir Alex Ferguson in just over 10 years. And, again, very assured and very composed in what he's saying. He says, I'm a little bit of a dreamer and I believe in myself and I believe in the club. I think we have the same idea, the same mindset, and that can help. I truly believe in the players also. And again, these kind of press conferences and these opportunities to speak to your players without directly speaking to them face to face is a very, very powerful tool to have. And, I think he has hit the ground running here first and foremost with his first press conference, to bring everybody together and bring everybody on board with these kind of statements. He is certainly in no doubt that he is the right man for the job. And he wants the players to come along and believe in him and go on this journey. And of course then, the people behind the scenes, the Dan Ashworths, the Jason Wilcoxes, the Omar Baradas, these types of people, I think it is going to be a more collective group going forward that makes decisions. He's a head coach, he's not a manager. So his job is to get the best out of the players on the training ground week in, week out, and then on the match day on the weekends. And the whole kind of manager and managing of the club, the manager of Manchester United, I think a lot of that is going to be delegated now to a lot of the hierarchy. And I think it can be a positive thing for the likes of Ruben Amorim, where he can just focus on improving players, focus on, recruitment, getting players in, getting players out. Your opposition next week, 2 weeks' time, who do I rest? So on and so forth. And, I think it can only be of benefit to him. I really do think so. What are you guys saying here? D says, thank Christ internationals are done. UCC is back. Amorim is in. He's moulding these dead weights to our style. Let's kick on. Top 4, here we come. He also says, last time we brought a manager in mid-November, it was history altering in Fergie. There we go. Ben says, he's going to improve us. He has his style. He wants to play players best start working. There we go. Party Pooper says, I'm excited about this now after watching the press conference. And D says, was convinced you were going to say most not multi-millionaires wouldn't have been far off. There we go. He was also asked then, guys, about... So sorry, we read that one already. He was also taught, in follow-up to how he wants to play and so on and so forth. He says, as a coach, you have to choose one way or another. I choose 100% our way. I choose to risk a bit. I believe so much in our way of playing. They will believe too. And again, this is another way of saying to players, and this has been the case, I think, so often over the last decade at Manchester United, is that the players have had too much say in terms of how we set up and how we play. And Amorim is basically saying here, I'm not changing. You have to change. And if you do not change, bye. You'll be moved on and we'll get new players in. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I've been sick the last few days. Apologies. So yeah, basically what he's saying is, I am not going to change. I choose 100% our way. And if you don't want to get on board with that, I'll find somebody else who does. And that is, absolutely refreshing as a Manchester United fan listening to that. And long may it continue. And I think it's the right mindset to have. And, we now know again, I go back to what I've said an awful lot about, clearing out the deadwood and getting over the old regime at Manchester United is not going to be an overnight thing. There are going to be stragglers there that, you might have to maybe see out their contracts over the next couple of years. But I think we've seen this summer just gone a real sensible approach to how we buy players, not giving huge contracts, not giving or not paying massive transfer fees, buying players who are hungry, who want to win, who are not coming for a paycheck. And I believe that if that continues to be the case over the coming 2, 3, 4 transfer windows, very quickly you'll find yourself with a squad who are desperate to succeed at Manchester United and who know if they don't succeed, they will be moved on. You look at the likes of Anthony, for example. It hasn't worked, and we know it hasn't worked. It's been 2.5 years now, and it hasn't worked. But he's not going to leave Manchester United. 1, because he's on too much money, and 2, who's going to really buy him? You know what I mean? And offer him that same kind of wages. However, we're buying players in the transfer window just gone without giving them savage salaries. It makes it a lot easier to offload these players. It really, really does. Now, you might take a hit on them in terms of what you paid in relation to what you're going to get for them 2 or 3 years down the line, but getting them off the books would be a lot easier when they're not on savage money. So, look, this is music to my ears. It really, really is, and it's something that I'm absolutely delighted to be hearing from Ruben Amorim, because, it's long overdue. He was also asked then as well, guys, about recruitment, okay? And, whether he is going to have a say on, transfers and so on and so forth. And, we've known over the last couple of years and even with Erik ten Hag that, Erik ten Hag came in more so as a manager and got, I suppose, not the overarching say, but I suppose you could nearly say that in his first season. And then once Ineos came in, some of that power was taken away from him. Okay, Ruben Amorim has come out strong and said, in relation to player recruitment, I have a great responsibility when we choose players because I am the manager, I am the coach, I have to choose the players. Now, I think that could be misinterpreted a little bit. I don't think he is going to be the one to decide who we sign. But I think what he kind of means there is that he is going to have one of the overarching says in terms of who we get. And I think that's the right way to play it. I honestly do. Look, the fact now that we've got people behind the scenes who are very confident in terms of signing players, getting deals done, identifying players is brilliant. However, like what he says here, the manager has to have a say in that process because he is the one that has to work with him day in and day out on the training pitch and the one that has to implement him into games on the weekend. So I do think the manager needs to have a say. However, I do think it needs to be a collective. I'll go back to what we've said an awful lot in the past about, I think we need to start signing players that identify with how the club want to play more than anything else. You know what I mean? And outside of that, then I think it's, I think we will be successful. You know what I mean? And, if we're not, then maybe there may have to be a reshift. I'm not too sure. But I think if there is, then yeah, I think it can only go one way, and I think it means that the transition between manager to manager, will be a lot smoother. I don't want us to have to change manager, but if we do have to, if you're signing players that suit the way the club want to play rather than each individual manager, then I think it's a lot smoother. Yeah, sorry about the ring up, my phone went off there. But yeah, anyway. And also he says we have to improve the process of recruitment, the data. I have to understand the league, and then when everything is aligned, everyone is on the same page. We can buy and sell players, and again, that sell is a very important point there because he wants to let players know that, look, your position here is not set in stone. You know what I mean? And I will move you on if I have to move you on. And I think that, again, I'll go back to what I've said, that is the right way and it's the right mindset. And he's setting out his stall early here. He's saying, and again, we've heard in the past with Omar Barada, for example, has said, when we sign a player, we give them 2 years. And if they don't, prove themselves in 2 years, then they're moved on. So, again, Ruben Amorim is setting out his stall here with this also. He was asked about Jose Mourinho as well, and the comparisons there. He basically says he's his own player, he's his own manager, giving some praise to Jose Mourinho as well. So again, he mentioned Erik ten Hag a little bit. Also, he said Ten Hag was amazing at Ajax. For me, he built the best 2 teams outside of the 5 strongest leagues. So my confidence does not come from just that, from winning at Sporting. My idea could go wrong, but I am comfortable because I know step 1, step 2, step 3. With that, I am confident we will achieve something. So there you go. He is saying as well that he has to win. He was asked about being given time, and I think he hit the nail on the head, absolutely spot on as well, saying, I do believe I have to be given time. I think 2.5 years, the contract that he's been given, he said, is enough for you guys to see an identity and a progression from where we're going. He said, however, we have to win somewhere, somehow. And again, he's very smart, and he's very clued in to the fact that he knows winning games will buy him time, the more games you win. And yeah, I think that's one of the most reassuring things there, that he's not really under any illusions to what needs to be done. He came out backing himself, and he was a little bit he kind of said he stalled out towards the media as well. He said about the media, you guys don't believe in these players, but I do. You think it's not possible, but I think it's possible. I believe in them. They are open to different things, hard work, and they have to. And until they prove me wrong, I believe in them. So again, that's building that, that really good, strong bond and relationship with the players, and kind of that siege mentality. Now, you don't want to turn the media on you too quickly either, because they will bury you, especially as a Manchester United manager. However, getting that bond between your players is very, very important. So look, guys, they're the main talking points of Amorim's opening press conference. We will get more as the day goes on. There was an embargo on the second part as well, so we will get an updated quotes and stuff like that in relation to the game on Sunday as well. I'm going to be back tonight as well, guys, doing the match preview live from 9 o'clock, so make sure you're tuning in for that as well. I do appreciate everybody stopping by. As always, if you haven't done so already, do smash the like button on the video, hit the subscribe button. Ruben Amorim's first press conference as Manchester United manager has been a very, very impressive one, in my opinion, and yeah, the excitement builds. Unfortunately, there won't be a watch along this weekend. I do apologise, and I know it's really bad timing. I've got a game with my own team up the country at 2:30 on Sunday, so I won't be able to do a watch along. But we will be doing a match reaction video that on Sunday evening, regardless. I just won't be around for the game. I do apologise. But join us tonight, guys, from 9 o'clock. We will be live. Smash a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, and I'll chat to you this evening. Take it easy.